are
Yeah.
you looking forward, Clayton, to Ridley Scott's Napoleon? To take your box office hat off, not the actual one that says box office that you're wearing in real life, just your
Mhm.
figurative box office prognosticator hat. Just as a human being, do you look forward to seeing this Napoleon movie with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes, Ridley Scott really enjoyed The Last Duel.
Okay.
I thought that was a really great underrated movie, and I enjoyed that. I'm hearing word that this Joaquin Phoenix performance as Napoleon, he is going for it. This
Wow.
is equivalent to his performance in Gladiator in making somebody a simpering, powerful yet inept tool
Mm.
bag.
Hmm.
And I'm happy to see him back squarely in his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
And
Joaquin is great when he simpers.
yeah.
Joker simpered. His
Oh
Joker
yeah.
was a simperer.
It is a big movie. It's
Mhm.
a sweeping movie.
Yep.
I mean, you've got Vanessa Kirby, who I really enjoy.
Yep.
She's not a butts in the seats actor at this point, but she definitely has the name recognition, and there are people who are intrigued and enjoy seeing her on screen.
Yep.
And I personally think that I will see this in the theater and enjoy it.
Wow. So
What
the
is your take?
does the runtime, affect you in any way? 'Cause you
Run
you you have not seen Killers of the Flower Moon in theaters, right?
No, no,
You
I
did not
haven't,
end up
but
seeing it.
runtime doesn't it does not. I mean, I think everything should be an hour and a half.
Right,
And
right.
once you get over an hour and a half, it's already too long. So you could go for 3 hours. It's still gonna be too long for me if it was an hour and 36 minutes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we're arguing about runtime, there's no difference for me. If it doesn't stop at 90 minutes, then it's already too long.
It's all the same. 92 minutes is the same as 3.5 hours because
Yes,
it's not 90 minutes.
because you should have been able to tell your story in 90 minutes, I
Right,
believe,
right, right.
in a movie. So I don't get deterred by it. And frankly, I only look at runtimes when it comes to box office in the sense of, is that going to deter a regular audience member, and how many showings can a movie have in
Mhm.
comparison to a shorter film? But when I'm buying my ticket, if I want to see a movie, I want to see a movie.
Yeah. So, okay, you're looking forward to this. I will say I I would enjoy seeing this if
Mhm.
the opportunity presents itself. At the moment, it doesn't feel to me like a go out of my way to schedule this, but I could very much envision a scenario in which I am seeing this Napoleon movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have a great particular personal fondness for historical epics,
Mhm.
or for history in general.
Yeah.
I am kind of a pre the Beatles. I'm not a huge on history.
Yeah.
Like if the Beatles don't exist, that feels too far in the past for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And as far as I know, Napoleon's, he's pre 60s,
Mhm.
1960s, so that's pretty long ago. Um, I yeah, but I really did like The Last Duel, and obviously that was in the past and it was pre-Beatles, so I did
Mhm.
enjoy that. I liked House of Gucci. So I personally would want to see this. I do wonder if this is going to be a dad play. I think
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think this is the one that, when I was talking about Killers of the Flower Moon, I was hoping the History Channel dads would come out for. And you said that Napoleon is more likely to be the History Dad
uh
movie because they
100%.
will watch any old boring shit.
Yes.
And I think Napoleon is somebody they're interested in. And I do think that you're going to get the dads, but can the dads get the family out for this
Yeah,
during
it's a tough
Thanksgiving? Because
family sell.
and there's the football. I mean, there is football, Pat, on Thursday, of
Yeah.
course. Turkey Day, gobble gobble,
Yeah.
football, all part of it.
Of course,
There
there's a
is a
Lions game for whatever reason. There'll
well, they're
always be the
great
Lions,
this year, Pat.
but still, it's Detroit.
Hear that roar? That's coming from Detroit. Now, Friday, there is a Black Friday NFL game, Pat.
This is big.
Then you got Saturday, that is college football.
Yep.
Then you got Sunday.
Yeah.
That's football. That is the
Right. So
NFL
where
day.
will the dads take that, 3.5 hour break to go see this movie?
That is the thing. I mean, that's almost a whole football game. And you can't gamble on whether or not Napoleon wins at Waterloo. He was at
Uh,
Waterloo, right?
w He was, yeah, I mean, I don't know. John Lennon wasn't at Waterloo, so,
No,
Waterloo doesn't really mean anything to me.
no.
I will say, though, I think we're talking about different dads there, especially with the gambling, because I do think that the History Channel dads who are gonna have an interest in Napoleon are not the same dads who are gambling addicts who have to see the Black Friday NFL game.
Mhm.
I do think the History Channel dads, they love their Sunday football. If their team is playing on Thursday, if they're a Cowboys fan or Lions fan and the team is playing Thursday. But I do think the History Channel dads are the dads who want a break from sports
Yeah.
because they're learned. They want to know about Hitler and Napoleon and Enzo Ferrari and all these pivotal historical figures. Jesus, of course,
Mm,
they want to know about Jesus.
big
So
IP.
I do think the Napoleon History Channel dads will go to a movie theater this weekend, even though there's wall to wall sports.
Okay.
The gambling addict dads, they don't care about the History Channel anyway. That just gets in the way of getting to ESPN2, which is where they find all the scores because they don't know it's just on their phones.
And they probably have plenty of time, because they are not going to be seeing their family that they ruined. They're
Exactly.
gonna be in their apartments eating Hungry Man
Yes.
from a
Yes.
microwave and being like, "You know what? I couldn't afford heat, so maybe I'll go see this Napoleon movie."
Yeah, so you might get the gambling addict dads. Yeah, I think the bigger hindrance, like you said, to the History Channel dads seeing Napoleon is whether they could get their families to go with them,
Yeah.
or B, get that time to sneak away with their neighbor buddy
Mhm.
to go see it, or by themselves. Let's be honest. These dads they want to go and sit in a dark room by themselves and watch something that could have been on the History Channel.
But truly, Pat, as men, isn't that always in a top 5 thing we could do is just sit in a dark room
Yes, it's great. Of
staring at
course.
the wall?
Yeah, and the older we get, the darker we're going to want those rooms to be. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I think that the thing is it's a tougher sell as a family film compared to something like, listen, we started this show in the fall of 2019 and Ford v Ferrari was a hit in that fall, made over
Mhm.
$100 million domestic. That was very much a dad film.
Yeah.
And I would say a History Channel dad film because Ferrari is someone who I'm sure there's, an 8-part docuseries on. And that, though,
But
was an easier sell to get the
Mhm.
families out because you had, you know, Matt Damon and Christian Bale, super recognizable stars to everyone. They were
Mhm.
playing like nice guys.
Yes.
They weren't playing a-holes. They were playing
Mhm.
like just competitive nice guys, and it was a promise of fun. I don't
Yeah.
know if Napoleon necessarily promises a fun family time.
Well, speaking of simpering, Matt Damon played a simpering knight in The Last Duel, and that movie tanked. And now,
And that movie
again, different
tanks.
times because it was COVID-ish times, but
Yeah, yeah.
still, maybe the dads don't wanna see a simperer. They wanna see an
Yeah.
emperor, not a simperer.
Well, okay, think back
Mhm.
to one of the most famous and great dads of all time, Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
He was a big Napoleon guy.
Yes.
He
Love
was a big
Napoleon.
Napoleon guy. he had the didn't he have the painting of Napoleon, or someone made a painting of him looking like Napoleon? I feel like there was a Sopranos episode that was Napoleon adjacent.
I believe there was a painting of Tony with the horse Pyomine,
Yes, and he looked like
and
Napoleon, right?
no, then he didn't want it after the horse got burned up, and he gave the painting to Polly Walnuts, who had it repainted as a Napoleon type standing next to a horse.
Oh, okay. So am I then incorrect that Tony Soprano never really talked glowingly about Napoleon? Is this a
Well, Napoleon's an Italian
Berenstain
guy,
Bears?
right?
No, Napoleon's French.
He's French? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well then
No,
then
he is
then no.
he's yeah. But he's
Then
a
he would
famous general. Is
yeah,
that
but
that's why Tony Soprano it's a listeners, if you remember this episode, clarify for us what was the relationship between Tony Soprano and Napoleon Bonaparte. Email us theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. Listen, I am
eh,
sure that wannabe O boys, wannabe O girls, wannabe O people,
people.
especially the Stoolies and the Minifans who listen to the show, a lot of them are probably screaming at their boom boxes where they listen to the BO Boys and saying they're screaming the plot of this episode that I'm misremembering.
And you know what?
And good for you. Good for you.
Don't don't get on us for talking about TV, right? Because it's not TV. It's HBO.
Exactly. So all to say, there was some Napoleon content on The Sopranos, which again lends to it's a very dad IP, this Napoleon. Now, the thing is, you're right, simpering Napoleon, is that what the dads want? Did the dads want Conqueror Napoleon, cocksure Napoleon going around dominating, given to Double Bird as he conquers Europe? Like, is that the Napoleon that the History Channel dads are going to want this
Mhm.
weekend? Which, the thing is, the trailers for this movie, I don't think give away too much of the simpering. I think
No.
they do try and push this is the Napoleon that the dads grew up on. So I think
Mhm.
that will help the box office opening weekend.
Yeah, but I mean, there is a ceiling for this, I
Yeah.
mean, when you're talking Killers of the Flower Moon, because this is an Apple TV movie.
Yeah.
So they're going full on theatrical for this one and Killers. And there could be people who don't go see this movie because they had no interest in Killers.
Yeah, I don't think people are making that connection that it's like I didn't see Killers of the Flower Moon, so I'm not going to see Napoleon because they're both Apple TV Plus original movies. I don't think
Mhm.
that's happening. Um, and I do think Napoleon is definitely a broader audience play than Killers was, because the bad stuff that Napoleon is doing happened even further into the past and
Way,
further away
way,
from
way the Beatles, yeah.
yes, it's like Beatles. Then there's this stuff that Killers of Flower Moon did, and then further past that is Napoleon. Napoleon's so
Mhm.
far away from the Beatles.
Yeah.
And so I think the modern audiences are not going to be as upset to see Napoleon do his stuff as they were to see like Leo and De Niro do their stuff, because Leo and De Niro were doing their stuff much closer to the Beatles' time.